And so technical and vocational and polytechnic education, we believe that it's only those who are not able to go to university who drop out and find themselves in those schools. And so we have not been paying attention to that level of education. The vision of my government is to shift our attention to that level of education and make sure that we're rolling out the electrical technicians, the mechanical technicians. That is what the industry is looking for. You go to an oil rig and you work as a plumber on an oil rig or as an electrician, and I tell you, you earn 10, 20 times more than your lecturer who taught you. And so that is, we must look at what industry is looking for, and we must align the school curriculum to meet it. So sometime this year, before the end of the year, I want to do a national conference and bring employers and industry and Chamber of Commerce together with rectors of universities, polytechnics, and all our educational institutions. And I'm going to get them to sit and talk to each other and let industry tell them what are the skills they are looking for. And they must adjust their curriculum to suit that. Because if you go to school, we talk about graduate unemployment. Yes, there's graduate unemployment in Ghana. But if you go to school and you study Roman civilization, of course, you won't find a job. You know? And often a course becomes very attractive, and so everybody wants to do it. And so you go to Ghana today and everybody has an MBA, you know, but how many MBA, what you should ask yourself is how many MBAs can the economy absorb, you know? Or you go and everybody has done marketing. I mean, how much are we producing to market? Why do we need, you know, all those marketing graduates? And yet if you're looking for mechanical engineers or technicians or technical, electrical technicians, you find them hard to find. And so we need to adjust our curriculum in terms of the graduates we're producing to fit the job market that we have in our country. And finally, we still prioritize education and health. And I intend to deliver on the promise I made of increasing the number of secondary schools in our country. Almost 50% of our young people, actually 47%, qualify to go to secondary school, but they are unable to continue because there's just no space in our secondary schools. We don't have enough secondary schools. And so I tasked a task force to work with the Ministry of Education to deliver on those schools, and they've worked very fast. And before the end of the year, I'll cut the sword to mark the beginning of the construction of those secondary schools across the country. Health sector, we're doing fine. The health insurance is expanding, and we're committed to building district hospitals and other health facilities so that we can continue to improve the health of our people. We're working hard on maternal mortality to make sure that fewer women die or no woman dies. That's what I prefer to use in the course of childbirth. And so we're building CHIPS compounds. These are small health facilities in rural areas where we place some nurses or health personnel, and they're able to appraise a mother, and if the birth is going to be a difficult one, they move her quickly to a health facility before she delivers, so that if there are any complications, a cesarean section or something can be performed quickly to save the life of the mother.
Hello, Mr. President. My name is Augustine Ayenibisa Ayala. I'm a host of Divine Speech in African Traditionalism. I had wanted to ask a question on the environment in Ghana, but something sidetracked me. The MC indicated earlier that he wanted to have a Christian reverend to say a prayer, and then at the end of the session, he's going to have a Muslim to end give a closing prayer. I am an African traditionalist, and I'm proud of it. Why would we have an occasion like this without an African traditionalist saying a prayer? Furthermore, we have Christian holidays in Ghana. We have an Islamic holiday in Ghana. When are the traditionalists going to get their day of observance?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Silence, please. Silence, please. Silence, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Why don't we have a holiday for traditionalists? I don't know. But even if we decided to have it, which day will they choose? Because all of us have our gods and our deities, and the days that our, festivals and all that are different. So when are all the traditionalists going to come together and say that this particular day is the day we all choose, that it should be a holiday for us? If you're able to organize that, come and tell me, and then I'll see what to do.
That is how the father of the nation responded to one of his children seeking fair treatment. Under the all-seeing and watching eyes, including Queen Mother Blake of Harlem, President Mahama snickered and ducked and basically declared Ghana as a Christian Islamic nation and denied African traditionalists their inalienable rights of freedom and justice. Only Christians could pray for the well-being of Ghana. Only Muslims could pray for the well-being of Ghana. Traditionalists can be seen but not heard. How can President Mahama tell the world body that Africa is walking proudly toward ethnic and religious harmony and coexistence when traditionalists were denied the right to thank the ancestors for his safe journey, as well as the land deities, the water deities, and the sky deities for his safe arrival to the United States of America? How is that religious harmony? What a contradiction.
Africa is standing tall, walking confidently towards political stability, walking confidently towards economic prosperity, walking proudly towards ethnic and religious harmony and coexistence.
Mr. President, you don't want to go there. You don't want to go down a slippery slope. Ghana just dodged the bullet of the Supreme Court decision. You don't want to go down a slippery slope by denying African traditionalists the right to pray for the nation's well-being and your well-being as their leader. Mr. President, you don't want to go there. During the 1962 independence celebration, the Anglican bishop, the Right Reverend Reginald Roseveare, walked out while a traditionalist priest was pouring libation. You know what happened to him? Dr. Kwame Nkrumah deported the bishop for disrespecting African culture. Mr. President, that was a bold and sound decision by your predecessor. You should follow Dr. Nkrumah's footsteps by respecting African traditionalism instead of shunning it. Mr. President, discrimination is not a word, it is a behavior. Traditionalists have lodged complaints with your administration for denying them their spiritual roles during national celebrations while you were a vice president. On both the 54th and 55th years of Ghana's independence celebrations, traditionalists were not allowed to pour libation. And worst of all, during the centennial celebration of the life and afterlife of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, only Christians and Islamic prayers were allowed. These are signs of disunity, signs of discrimination, and humiliation. No president should wish any of these signs on himself and his nation, and you should not allow them. Lack of respect for other ethnic groups brought about genocide in Rwanda. Lack of religious tolerance brought about genocide in Darfur. Olodefur, the Marriott, and the Zakhawa know what is in African traditionalism that is so sacred to them that they would rather sacrifice their lives to save it. They are not the first to defend their God-derived beliefs through humiliation, torture, and death. This is one of the missing parts in African independence struggle, religious freedom. New Islamization was introduced by Sudanese President Bashir as a means to eradicate any semblance of African traditionalism on his soil. It is rather a surprise that the people of Darfur, who have lived in Islam for over 1,200 years, are the ones leading this independence struggle. I prayed that this will be the last of such persecutions, and nothing like this happened to any other people. Little did I know that African traditionalism will be threatened in my homeland, Ghana. Like the United States Constitution, there is a free exercise clause in the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. Article 26, Clause 1, states that every person is entitled to enjoy, practice, profess, maintain, and promote any culture, language, tradition, or religion subject to the provisions of this Constitution. Mr. President, respect the Constitution and allow traditionalists to contribute constructively towards the advancement and growth of the nation. Respect the traditionalists. They are Ghanaians too and are protected by Clause 1 of the Constitution. Traditionalism has been the African way of life since the beginning of time. It may seem like it is in a state of decline on the continent, but it is experiencing an impressive growth in the diaspora. Mr. President, use wisdom instead of going down a slippery slope by denying one group of religious leaders equal protection under the law, thus depriving them of equal rights under the sun, which are uncalled for. Your predecessor, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, likened religion in Ghana as a triangle, with Christianity to the west, Islam to the east, and traditionalism as the foundation. This philosophical thought needs to be emulated by you, and all will go well for you and your nation. We want you to succeed. Don't go down this slippery slope because you may not succeed in pulling yourself back up. This is the end of part 1. Tune in next week for part 2 of John Dramani Mahama, the president Ghana deserves.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this evening's event. Before we commence, we'll call on Deacon Apau of the Baptist Church to lead us in a very, very brief prayer. Deacon Apau.
Sorry.